Hello and welcome back to Milesh and Sadie Property Talks. I'm Sadie, an interior designer helping create homes and developments that people genuinely want to live, stay and buy. And today we are talking about luxury renovations. Despite larger budgets and ambitious plans, many projects still end up over budget, delayed or disappointing. So luxury doesn't automatically mean successful. Today, I'm here with Chris from Collyer Construction. This is your second time on the podcast.
Sadie.
So obviously you saved the best till last.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, you know it. Milesh.
No, obviously we're very, very sad that Milesh can't be here today.
Wow, yeah.
But today we are talking about luxury. So luxury properties, luxury developments. What do you think, first of all, what do you think makes a luxury development?
I think good kitchens.
Yeah.
That is a key. Most of the if we're doing the construction work, it is to enlarge the kitchen to get the open plan. But you don't have to go high end. A good quality fitted kitchen, utility to match as well.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in heavier doors as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you get a too lightweight a door, it doesn't seem to shut as well. It's a bit like the old BMW German car type thing when the door shuts.
Yeah, it sort of screams quality, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Good taps as
Yes,
well.
good taps,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so-
Hardware, I think, as well. I think if when you touch a bit of hardware, a bit like you touch the taps or the shower, you can instantly feel that kind of weight and that quality.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think is different? So 10 years ago, what were people seeing as sort of luxury to what people see now?
Blimey. I think there's a lot more social media. There's a lot more out there that people can see. I could be wrong on my timings, but perhaps 10 years ago, Instagram wasn't having such a big, maybe I'm showing my age there. Instagram.
Yeah, 10 years ago. No, I think you're right. It was kind of new, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But we didn't have the reels or any of that.
No, Pinterest was probably the thing that
Yes.
people still, and I think clients still do get involved in that.
Yes.
I think we've definitely gone to open plan because people want to cook in their kitchen and have their guests at the dining room table, so they're all involved. From 10 years ago, I mean, I guess it's the same 10 years ago, if I'm really honest. It's difficult to pinpoint exactly what it could be, what the changes could be, but there's a lot more other influences on people. A lot more micro cement, that's a big thing at the moment. In bathrooms, we have, at home, we have something called beton cire, which is a micro cement sort.
I know beton cire actually because do you know what? Here's a bit of a story, just a sidetrack. I put that down in my house on the floor and it cracked.
Really?
It was the biggest disaster of any of my renovation projects ever. Luckily on my house, it did cost me quite a bit. Yeah. But it was in the implementation wasn't right. So
it's like anything. The whole process has got to be done correctly. We've only got it on the walls. The reason being my wife didn't want grout lines, so that's what she liked. We've got a project at the moment where they're going micro cement there, and that's walls, floors, it's the whole lot.
Yes,
so
I think you're right.
Changed.
And I wonder if that is, again, because the sort of material palettes and what's actually available now is so much wider than it was 10 years ago. Yeah. Even if you look at like something like the tiles selection, I mean, there are now so many tile manufacturers. It's very rare that you'll get a client that would just go down to Tops Tiles. You know, there's just hundreds and hundreds of choices.
Yeah.
And they see it everywhere they are on all social media. And now we are lucky enough that we've got AI that can produce other like rendered images of what they want their space to look like. 100%. What do you think are the challenges with the luxury market?
The people's expectations of cost. I think people can think big budget. It's we can have what we want, but you still can't have absolutely everything you want because sometimes it's totally unachievable because it's too expensive or it's not. You mentioned the beton cire on the floor. If somebody said to you that's what they want, you'd probably say no, don't have it.
Yes.
The process is very different now to put it down. I just think people's expectations, the big budgets are okay, but I still think they need keeping under control because it can still run away if they're not careful.
I couldn't agree more. I think the thing is people think when they've got a lot to spend, that means that they will get everything. But it doesn't mean that at all. There's still choices to be made. And like we've said, you know, even looking at something like you want to micro cement a floor or wall, actually the preparation that goes into you having this luxury finish is far more than if you just slapped, I mean, not slapped, but if you put a tile on the
You've
wall.
seen our work,
Yeah,
haven't you?
yeah. I look like you slapped it on. But no, it is though, isn't it? All the luxury items, and the more complicated a luxury project becomes, the more infrastructure that has to go in beforehand.
Yeah. I think if you were doing a new build, to put some of the luxury items in is easier because you can build around it. Underfloor heating is a classic. We want underfloor heating in our extension. It's not always as easy to make it work from the old to the new, whereas a new build, you can do that, and it works. A lot of the renewables as well can work better in a new house against trying to retrofit it into an older house.
I think, yeah, absolutely. And I think clients often don't realise, like you've just said, at something like underfloor heating, if you've got a complete concrete floor, that what you've got to do to be able to actually achieve that is huge and very costly.
And there's ways around it. We're always finding other ways around getting the underfloor heating, and it's great once you've got it, but some of the costs to get it onto the older existing properties is a bit harder.
Yeah. If clients come to you with sort of this dream project in mind, how do you begin working with them?
If they've got the dream project, as in, have they then had
they've bought the house, they've got a wish list of everything they want. What's the first step with you?
I would say we need to get the architect and the interior designers involved from the beginning.
You said that. Could have been so awkward.
Yeah, I know.
What I would have said is, don't work with an interior designer.
No, God, no. The cushion fluffers, you mean? Yeah. Sorry.
Do you know what we have to share? That Chris likes to make a joke with me that all I do is fluff some cushions, and I think we all know that I do quite a bit more. Not true.
I know. I'm a believer actually that the builder should be in, because most people will go to the architect first, or they'll go to an interior designer. It's a team.
I totally
think
agree.
You need everyone involved.
Yes.
You know, the builder can sometimes reel the architect in on their ideas. So, well, actually, that isn't really that buildable, or it is, but it's going to cost more money. And I do think there's value in having the builder, the architect, and the interior designer all involved very early on. To get the client's dream together. Because you can design something, but if it's not buildable or it's unbuildable because it's too expensive, then you've got to sort of squash the client's dreams, really.
Absolutely. I think you're so right. I think that the more successful projects are the projects where that team is collaborative and working together from the beginning. And actually, if you are a client who is looking to pull off this luxury renovation, getting that team together and making sure that you have a meeting where everybody's involved from the very beginning, I think is just paramount to the success of that. Because you're right, we can get away with our ideas, but actually I have found that by running them by whoever we're working with, whichever contractor early on, it can save everybody loads of time. For example, things like underfloor heating. If the client said we want to underfloor heat every room downstairs, and then I've chatted to you and you've gone, well, you know that's going to be X because we're going to have to do this to the foundation, to the floor, then we go back and we don't go down that route. We know that that's something that we're either going to do in some rooms or not at all.
And that's it. You can decide, well, let's not do it in every room.
You
know, if you have it in the main areas, the kitchen, the dining room, the sort of the main living areas, then you can have it there. But also that collaboration's got to be right the way through the build. There's nothing worse if the client, architect, interior designer, builder have a breakdown in communication, which is back to that communication.
We're
all trying to do the same end goal. We all want to give the client that dream house.
100%. And I think the worst is when we've probably all been on those projects where it's just horrible. You can sort of feel this like blame culture starts, and it's so toxic, and it doesn't help anybody because automatically nobody is working towards this kind of shared end goal. And actually, I love it when we try and be on site at least once a week. And sometimes it is that something that we've drawn or proposed isn't going to work, and we're problem solving together with the contractor to make sure, you know, how can we change it and make sure that we're going to achieve something similar.
Yeah.
But what we don't want to do is go, well, we've done this, but the bill said we can't do it. So we're going to have to,
Well, that's it. And if, you can have that conversation. Certainly, if you're there regularly,
Yes.
or it's getting, we've got to find solutions to problems. We can't
Yes.
find problems for solutions. We've got to, make it work. So
100%. One team, one dream, Chris.
absolutely. Yeah.
But I think that's my biggest advice, actually. You do have to make sure you've got a superb team in place for a luxury renovation. When you're at the kind of, not basic, but if you're kind of a first time buyer, or you're doing a kind of mid-scale project, there's elements so you can get away with doing parts of it yourself.
Yes.
But there are so many moving parts, I think, when you get up to the luxury side of things. And even things like your heating tends to become more complicated, your lighting becomes more complicated. Everything just sort of steps up to this edge of not being able to really cope with it.
Yeah.
If you bring in all the right people from the start, everything gets sort of engineered and
Well, it's making the lighting work around the things that you might put into it. It's making the lighting work around the beams that the structural engineer may have put in. I didn't mention the structural engineer as well. They're less so because they're not, dare I say, the pretty stuff, but
but pretty important.
It's been pretty important. Yeah, very important. So it's making it all work together. The mid to low end projects, less so. Sometimes they can be quite tricky because the clients get so many ideas. Their friends got this, their neighbours got that, and they're full of all different ideas. And then with no interior designer there, we're trying to reel them in a bit.
Yes.
So, on that respect.
What do you think are the areas in the house that people overspend on?
Fancy stuff.
What's fancy stuff?
Well, stuff that is not as easily changed. What do they overspend on? Crikey, you've got me a little bit there. If I'm really honest,
and I bet you're like, I'm slightly worried because
I
I
don't
want
want
to say something that Sadie's like, what?
Say one of your latest posts.
Exactly, yeah. She just designed a whole house around that.
I think you've got to have if you've got a nice house, you want a decent staircase.
Yes.
So I'm going to kind of go back and forth on some of the stuff.
Okay, let's list it out.
You don't want a simple, cheap staircase in your lovely feature hallway.
Yes.
So don't scrimp on that.
Okay.
Don't scrimp on flooring.
Yes, fine, I agree.
You don't necessarily have to have the same units in your utility as your kitchen, but
Fair.
don't scrimp on the kitchen.
Yes.
It's have your budget for the kitchen, because we have it sometimes where the client they're going to complete house refurb and they've got an idea of the kitchen, but the budget goes because, dare I say, scope creep.
Yes.
Stuff that's come up that we haven't written. We're going to get a cheaper kitchen. No, try and stick to that kitchen because it's going to be such a big part of that build. You insulate it as well as you can if you've got chance to do that. So I can't say there's anything that I've seen where people, I say fancy stuff, the feature stuff. You can change some of that.
Yes.
If it all works, it's got to flow.
It's got to flow, and I'm guessing the thing you think basically you've got to get your foundations right. Obviously the actual foundations,
absolutely.
but you mean the infrastructure of the building is where you spend the money.
Yeah, get good windows. There's no point scrimping on the windows because
Yeah.
it's how it looks from the outside as well. You live in the inside, so that's the bit you see most of all. But it's still got to have that. You want people to like that house.
Yeah.
As they walk up to it.
And it's interesting because you sort of just touched on insulation, and from our very first properties that we ever bought, my dad was obsessed with you've got to insulate everywhere. So I've for years just spent like every rafter trying to stuff more insulation into it, but it's so worthwhile because it makes a massive difference to the efficiency of the building.
Yeah, don't put too much in. You've got to have airflow as well.
Yeah.
In case anyone starts picking us up on that.
Yeah.
But it is, you and the renewables side of things, which I think are great.
Yeah.
Is fine as long as you've got the space to be able to insulate the house to, on the inside or the outside. You can insulate and clad it if need be.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you end up making all your
rooms smaller. I know, which is really tricky. True. What do you think about the world of automation? Because that's massive in the whole luxury.
It is. It's as long as you know how to work it. It's always,
Yes.
I've got a million features on my iPhone. I probably don't know how to use them all. It is important, and they're nice to have.
Yes.
They're nice to have. My dear old mum, bless her, would say, well, the more that you've got on a car that can go wrong, that
Yes.
I get that as well.
Yes.
But we're busy people. I don't really want it that when I go out the house, because I'm a classic for this, where's my phone, where's my glasses, where's my car keys,
Yes.
where's my house keys? At least if it's a thumbprint to get in, I've got my thumb on me all the time.
Yes.
For the automation. And to make the houses warmer, more welcoming for when you get home.
Yeah.
Or if you're on holiday, you can automate it to look like you're still home.
Yes.
So I think that's hugely important.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think if you've got the budget for it, because
Yes.
it really does stack up. So if you're thinking of putting it in, just know that the more you put in, the more costly it gets.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think in terms of efficiency for our lives, there's something that's lovely about it. But you're right. It's, as long as you get the systems right, it's about bringing in the right expert
It is, yeah.
at the beginning, because what you don't want is 100 different systems all running from different apps and the whole thing becoming a headache.
Yeah. One company, really.
Yeah, one
that
company
deals
that will
with it.
manage it.
Yeah, because then if they can help you manage it, if you're struggling to understand how to make certain features
Yes.
work, it's when you perhaps get too many different, companies involved.
Yes.
There's one company that deals so with the alarm, the security, the
Yes.
TV,
Yeah.
the lighting, the heating, everything,
Yeah.
because it's just one company to deal with.
Yes, definitely. And then you can lie in bed and you can press your little button, and
Absolutely, yeah.
the window treatments come down and your different
Yeah.
lights come on, and it's
Yeah.
very fancy.
Yeah,
Very
absolutely.
fancy.
Yeah, your feature wall can come up.
Yeah,
Chris has said, don't
exactly.
have that.
Yeah, Chris said, don't waste your money on that or the cushions.
Absolutely, yeah.
You've mentioned scope creep. It's tricky. I think we've all found it tricky. How do you manage scope creep?
The more information the client has right at the beginning is great. It happens. We can't odds that. That's sometimes, again, too much outside influence coming in. I'm not, it sounds like I'm bigging up the interior designer, but if there is an interior designer involved, there's going to be less scope creep because you've set it all out.
Yeah.
They know what the client then knows what they're going to want because you've explained to them what works. It's back to that, oh, my friend's got this and I've seen this on Instagram and I'd like, so that's when the scope creep can come in. And scope creep brings cost.
Yeah.
Costs, budgets go out the window then. So it's back to that, know what you want at the beginning, change things if you really need to and really have to.
Yeah.
But it's less likely to increase.
Yes, absolutely. So true. What do you think, what are the kind of new rooms you see coming into the luxury home? We've sort of mentioned, like, there's obviously the kitchen utility, but are there other spaces that are now in that weren't in, say, 5 years ago?
I think a snug off of the main living room is a nice to have, and it's a snug that works for perhaps the older people in the house, not another playroom for the kids.
Yes, yes.
Just to have somewhere to go,
Yeah.
and is a bit more cozy.
Yes.
We like open plan,
Yeah.
but we also like cozy.
Yes. Well, it's funny because I did do a bit of a thing about the open plan is it's slightly dying.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, you're right. There's still a space where people love to be together, but I think you're right. I think actually those breakout points of the house, I'm seeing become more and more on the wish list.
Yeah.
Whether it's a snug, definitely working from home spaces. We're seeing a lot of gyms in our luxury.
right.
Yeah. In fact, I've just had a yoga room put in.
Yeah.
Not in my house. I'd love a yoga room. No, someone has asked for a yoga room,
Yeah.
and we've had a saunas in a couple of projects as well.
In
so-
the house or outside?
inside the
Okay,
house. So it's like the kind of top luxury.
Yeah.
I think there's a kind of movement towards the well-being section as well, that they really want to feel like they're looking after themselves when they're not working really hard, which is
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah, and that's important as well.
Yeah.
The whole mental health thing that sometimes it is good just to stop and,
Yes.
go in your sauna, do the yoga,
Yeah,
then go in your snug and read your book.
exactly.
Keep off your phones.
Keep
if
off
you
your
can.
phones.
Yeah, unless you're watching YouTube, I suppose.
Yes,
So,
unless
yeah.
you're watching YouTube or supporting us on social media. Of course, those things are
I had to get
essential.
that in, didn't
What about the pantry? Are you seeing many pantries?
Yeah, I think pantries are also second kitchens. That's another
Yes, the
thing.
second kitchen. So you
Yeah.
can. What I love is that you have a kitchen, but you don't cook in that kitchen.
No.
You hide away into a smaller room.
Yeah. So you're kind of reverting back to that. Oh, let's have a kitchen that's off of the dining room, you know, with
Yes.
the old hatch serving hats are
Yes,
very old.
yes.
Perhaps I'm showing my age again.
The
You know,
hatch.
so yeah, you can go and do your cooking and leave it in a bit of a mess.
Yes.
And your friends see this wonderful kitchen that's hardly ever used.
I think we're copying the Italians. So the
Oh,
Italians
right,
famously will have a kitchen on every floor.
Yeah.
And I went to a house once where there was a jam kitchen.
Oh,
The only
right,
thing they did in
yeah.
that kitchen was make jam. I thought this was incredible. But they would have a show kitchen
Yeah.
where people will see and come and, you know, eat off the island. But the
Yeah.
actual mess goes into a back
Yeah,
kitchen.
yeah.
So I think it's great if someone's coming to clear up that back kitchen.
Absolutely.
But I've got to go back
No,
in there later.
somebody's got to do it at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah. Perhaps if there's money enough to have a sort of an off kitchen, they've got
Yes.
someone that can clear up.
Someone
for
comes to
them.
clear up later.
Yeah,
Then I'm 100% for
And
that.
the pantries, you know, the pantry again it's an addition to the kitchen where, you know, generally people have a kitchen, they've got everything they need in there, but the pantry's got, you know, their other cooking stuff, which is probably off
Yes.
their show, their
Their
other
excess
kitchen.
thing.
Yeah.
And I think that I actually touched on this on another episode with Milesh, that I think because of the well-being movement, we have so many appliances that people often love the pantry so that they can hide all of these NutriBullets or whatever,
Yeah.
air fryers, you know, whatever it is
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
can store it in there.
Yeah.
Just going back to the sustainability side of building now, what do you think is worth spending money on?
It's insulation. You know,
Okay.
it is. You've got this good windows, well insulated walls.
Yeah.
And then if you can go renewables, solar would be good.
Okay.
You know, we've generally got a little bit of sun
Some
or
sun.
light that
Yeah.
helps. But it is back to that. It's got to be designed to have. It's got to be designed in mind with the insulation, and if you're going to have to reduce the size of the rooms by insulating
Yes.
internally.
Yes.
There's no good putting an air source heat pump in a house that's still going to leak.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Interesting.
it needs to be sealed. It needs to be well insulated because it just doesn't. I say it doesn't work. It doesn't work as efficiently.
No.
And you've got to bear in mind, back to the underfloor heating, if you're going to have air source, you can, if you want radiators, they're going to have to be upsized, which then means whack and grab big radiators that, you know, as an interior designer, you've got to try and work around. So you go back to the underfloor heating. So you kind of go round and round in circles with it. You know, we need to make sure the underfloor heating can be worked into this house.
Yeah. I think it goes back to the kind of forming the team at the beginning, because you're right. The more that we know, sort of, if we're having more sustainable features going in, it's actually also where you need bigger plant rooms.
Yeah.
So the more and more of that you're adding, you can't just have like a small cupboard under the stairs that you're going to shove your boiler or your manifold.
Yeah.
You've got sort of serious kit that you've got to house, often on different floors.
Yeah.
So you have to bear that in mind. You need basically you need a bigger property than more.
Well, you know, the pantry could be taken up by the plant room.
Yeah.
With the, you know, if you can get the plant room in the garage, then the garage is still big enough to get the car and the golf clubs and
the golf clubs.
20
We mentioned that again.
Absolutely, yeah. But the golf clubs are in my car all the time, so rarely in the garage. So, yeah, it's that. But it is making it work. It's from the beginning. If the client says, I want to go renewables and I want underfloor heating, and you're saying, but then, you know, where are you going to put the plant room?
Yes.
The builder's saying, well, that's okay, but you need to speak to the structural engineer to make sure the steels aren't going to affect the roof for the underfloor.
Yes.
There's so many things.
Yes.
And if you're not careful, you go ahead with it.
Yeah.
And how are we going to get over that problem?
Yeah.
And it's just problem after another after another.
Yeah.
And it's draining. Everyone gets fatigue. Builder gets fatigue. Client gets fatigue.
Yes. Yes.
And that's not good either.
It's not good. So I think for me, the takeaway is make sure you form a great team. Make sure you've got all your professionals on board as soon as possible, and make sure everyone is communicating and designing together. Really,
absolutely, it is. Yeah, it is.
If money was no object, Chris, and you could build your luxury home, what would be like top of the wish list?
Glass.
Yeah,
Lots of, and it would. So the wish list, I would be on the coast.
Okay.
And I would like lots of automated glass as well. So
automated. What else are you going to do?
Well, it's just
open and close automated.
It's nice. You don't want to get up and have to shut it yourself.
Oh no, it's very difficult. I wondered if you meant one of those. Have you seen the glass where it like goes from clear to opaque?
Well, that would be nice as well.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think my dream would be to live somewhere sunny. So it probably wouldn't be this country, but on the coast, lots of glass. just for the view, for the the well-being side of things.
Yeah.
It's nice to have. There's a big sort of swing to sliding doors as opposed to bifolds. You probably know that as much as anyone else.
Yeah.
Because when they're shut, you still got the sort of the picture out of
Yes.
there. So
I agree. The connection to nature and outdoors is so important. I think for most people, but you're right, the well-being side. And what about golf simulator room?
it would be nice, but then I'd rather go out and play golf on the golf course if I can.
Fair.
Yeah, if money was no object, but I would far prefer. I think playing golf is key to the simulators. All right, but
Okay, but the real deal, out in
yeah.
nature
with other people. You've got to get the right people out there.
Yes.
And
Milesh just made the
Milesh
cut.
is there, yeah, and Mike and Mark, we're all there. So
that's nice.
Yeah, good.
Okay,
Good.
now we've got one hot seat that we've had sent in, so we're
Right,
just
okay.
we're literally gonna put you on the spot.
Okay, thanks.
And I don't have to answer it this time.
Oh,
This is
right,
all in your
okay.
love
Hope
list.
it's not what's the
It's really
pound per square
complex.
metre.
Yes, that's
Oh,
exactly
it is,
what
is
it is. No, it's not.
typical, yeah.
Okay, so we're halfway through a renovation and the builder has suggested several upgrades that would improve the finished result, but they weren't in the original budget. How do we know whether we're investing wisely or simply falling into scope creep?
Hopefully they've trusted the builder enough to know. We have it on times where I might suggest something and I'm always conscious to say this is not me upselling. This is me with however many years experience I've got in this industry to say on a project we did this, it works really well.
Yeah.
But if it's going to blow the budget so much that they then can't have their kitchen, then don't do it.
Yeah.
But if they think actually, I feel that would be a good idea, it's really difficult. We've got to back to that collaboration, back to that communication. If the client feels they can trust the builder, then hopefully they'll see that it is for the good of them.
Yes.
As a builder, I don't like too many I don't like any variations because it's more
all laid out and off you go.
Yeah. But if I can't help but say to somebody, have you thought about doing this?
Yes.
Because it might be quite a nice idea to
and you do only get one chance.
You do, yeah. You're there. You've got it stripped back. Let's do it now.
Yeah.
Yes, it will cost more money. How much is it going to cost? That's my role then to give them a steer on how much it would cost.
Yeah.
But if they really think it's worth doing, then great. And if they don't, that's fine as well. It's just I can't not put my ideas forward to them.
No, and I think as the client, I think you it's all about trust, isn't it? It's about believing in the team that you have around them and listening to the advice, and then you have to go away, unfortunately, and weigh up what that is going to cost you and see if it's worth it.
Yeah, it is.
Because the final decision comes back to you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in again today.
Yeah.
Chris, where can people find you?
We are very prolific on LinkedIn.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Thanks to Laura, who my PA that puts all our posts out there. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on any of those. So no.
The younger generation. And your website.
Website, yeah. So and YouTube sometimes.
And YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, listen, thank you so much. Hopefully today's discussion has highlighted that successful renovations aren't just about spending more money. They're actually about planning efficiently and maintaining clear communications throughout the process. If you have enjoyed this episode, then please remember to like, subscribe and share, and follow us both on our social media. And we'll see you in the next episode.